What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going through 5 crazy details in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga that I personally think are some of the coolest additions and elements to the game. Obviously, the Skywalker Saga is a lot more in depth than any LEGO game before it, not only just the LEGO Star Wars games, but LEGO games in general. We've never seen a LEGO game of this scale before, and obviously because of that there are so many awesome details in the game, a lot of which you guys may already know, but some of which you guys may not actually know about the game. So like I said, we're going to be going through my top 5 for the craziest details in the game. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. There is going to be plenty more LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga content on the channel throughout 2022, but with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. Now, the first thing that I wanted to mention, and just keep in mind these aren't really in any particular order, something that is absolutely awesome to see, we've seen it a few times now in the trailers, is that the enemies actually react to where you shoot them, and depending on where you shoot them, they actually take damage in different ways, but also react to that in a completely different way, giving us a lot more ways to actually deal with certain enemies. We see throughout multiple of the trailers that if you shoot an enemy, say a stormtrooper in the foot, they will actually kind of grab their foot and sort of bounce around, obviously in pain. Sometimes if you shoot them in the legs, they'll actually fall over, and then you can even shoot them in the head and their helmet will actually come off, which I also assume leaves them open to a lot more damage with the next shot. So obviously just the gunplay in general is improved a fair bit. We can see that just from the gameplay in the trailers, but not only is the gunplay improved, the way that the enemies actually react to being shot is improved as well. It is a rather minor detail at the end of the day. I don't think it's going to be the absolute most game-changing element of the game, but it does definitely add a little bit of that sort of LEGO charm when you see someone jumping around holding their foot in pain, and so I'm definitely keen to see all the different type of reactions you can get out of each of these enemies. Now, moving on, something else that I thought was really awesome is that there's actually multiple ways to finish each mission in the game. Obviously, in pretty much all of the previous LEGO Star Wars games, and probably the majority of LEGO games in general, despite the games being a lot of fun, they are very linear in a way. There's kind of one way to do something. Obviously, you have somewhat of a free reign to sort of go about it in the way that you want to do it, but for the most part, it is a rather A to B type of situation. You have to do this thing to sort of unlock the next thing, then you have to do that thing to, get a certain part, and then you have to use that part to, access the next room or something. Now, while the missions in all the previous games are always a lot of fun, something that they've mentioned in a lot of the trailers that we've seen so far is that there are actually different ways to go about every single mission in the game. You can run into a mission guns blazing and essentially just try and take all the enemies out and then proceed to the rest of the mission, or you can actually take a stealthy approach and sort of take a different route to the actual area that you're trying to get to. And we even see the clip of Obi-Wan sort of distracting that bantha, which then causes the stormtroopers behind the bantha to be distracted as well. So not only can you try and sneak in, but you can obviously, with certain characters, try and play mind tricks and actually distract enemies to, access that sort of stealthy way to do the mission. So I think that adds a lot to the replayability, and it's something that we've never really seen before in any of the LEGO games, and I thought that was definitely pretty awesome overall. Now, moving on, something else that I thought was pretty awesome to see is that the actual game itself, to get 100%, is going to take upwards of 50 hours to complete. Now, they mentioned that it was going to take somewhere between, I think, 12 and 14 or 12 and 16 maybe, to essentially just finish the missions. Not doing it completely, as fast as you can, but just kind of doing it at the regular pace. Whereas if you want to get every single thing done in the game and you want to get 100%, all the achievements and all that kind of thing, it will actually take you 50 or more hours to do so, and that is definitely a very crazy detail. When you think about other Star Wars games, for example, more recently being Jedi Fallen Order, that is a game that everyone sort of acknowledges as a really, really well-made game. It seems to be universally loved, and to finish that game from start to finish in terms of the storyline, that took about 13 hours on average. So LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, even though it is a LEGO game, it's actually going to have essentially the same sort of playtime as Jedi Fallen Order, which is a AAA game. It was genuinely considered for Game of the Year that year. And then obviously in Fallen Order, if you wanted to try and get everything as well, it would have taken much more than that 13-hour sort of average, but it would have probably been around the 40 to 50 hour mark, just the same as LEGO Star Wars is going to be. So I think that's definitely an awesome little detail to know. It's going to be a lot of fun spending a heap of time in this game, and it just shows the amount of work that they have put into the game to have enough content that we can actually play for 50 plus hours and still not have everything unlocked. Now, moving on, something else that I thought was really awesome to see is that there are actually a lot of original cast members coming back to play their characters in the game, obviously through the voice acting. And although, to be honest, I think a lot of people are going to play on the mumble mode, it is pretty awesome to see that we're going to have a lot of returning favorites from the franchise. Now, although there's not too many actually coming from like the original movies, there's no Mark Hamill or anything like that, there is Billy Dee Williams reprising his role as Lando. We do also have Anthony Daniels reprising his role as C-3PO, and then Matthew Wood, who he was also in the Clone Wars to, but he did actually play General Grievous and the battle droids in the prequels, and he is returning as both of those characters in this game as well. On top of that, we also have Sam Witwer, who is obviously the voice actor for Darth Maul, but he is also doing the voice acting for Palpatine too. And for many of you guys who would have followed this channel from the Battlefront 2 days, you will know that Sam Witwer did actually do the voice acting for Palpatine in Battlefront 2 as well. So he has a lot of experience doing that, and he does an absolutely awesome voice for Emperor Palpatine, and it is definitely awesome to see Sam Witwer back in another Star Wars game. On top of that, we do also have James Arnold Taylor, who's reprising his role as Obi-Wan, and considering the likes of Plo Koon, for example, are in the game as well, I assume he's going to be voicing Plo Koon. And then Tom Kane is also confirmed to be in the game as well, most notably for his voice of Yoda. Like I said, considering they do have the mumble mode where I think most people are going to play, I know for myself I'll probably go down that route at least on one playthrough anyway. It's pretty awesome to see that they've actually got a really big cast for this game, and it just shows the production quality that they've got all of these big names to come together for the Skywalker Saga. Now, the last thing on my list isn't necessarily a crazy detail on its own, but the details of the actual combat mechanics and how it's been improved are actually pretty mental. Now, like I mentioned before, when you shoot enemies in certain areas, they will actually react differently. But on top of that, they've also added stuff like the combo system. They have improved the gunplay, like I mentioned before, and they've even added, certain enemies that can block your attacks. We see in the trailer, even R2-D2 has like a counter move on an enemy. And so just the overall detail of the combat mechanics are what I thought are worth mentioning, as it really does seem like they've gone absolutely in depth on pretty much all of the different combat systems in the game. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think of what I've mentioned in this video, but also if you guys think I missed anything as well, then definitely let us know down in the comments. There's so many crazy details in this game. It's easily, like I said, the most expansive LEGO game that we've ever seen. So if I did miss anything big, then definitely let us all know down in the comments, as I'm keen to see what you guys have to say. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you guys are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on any upcoming LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga content. If you want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then do consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. The links to that are down in the description. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.